Welcome back to Telltale Books Videos. I'm Greg, and I'm not talking about Stephen King for a change. I apologize if you're getting weary of King, but I am. I'm trying to get all the way through Night Shift. I still have a few to go yet. But this one is about a different book, one which I knew absolutely nothing about until my friend Samantha read a different book by the same author and she really loved it. And so then she wanted to read this book and asked me if I would do a buddy read with her. And I'm usually up for anything where she's concerned. So, of course, I said yes, and we read it. The book is titled Temple, and the author is Matthew Reilly. The Temple was published in 1999 by Thomas Dunn St. Martin's, which this is the first edition hardcover. And Temple is only Matthew Reilly's third published novel. He's published a lot of books since then, but this one was only number 3. And the one Samantha read previously, called Ice Station, that was only his second published book. If I got far into the synopsis, I could be here for a very long time giving you much of the story. The basic synopsis is you have this professor who's an expert at ancient languages. He is approached by a military group, asked to come on an expedition to South America with them because they want to find a particular stone idol that the Incans had carved and which is still hiding in the Andes, Amazon, jungle areas. And so they get him, they need him because they're going to find where it is by having him translate a document, a diary, so to speak, that was written by a monk, a Spanish monk, back in the 1500s, I believe, when this monk was on an expedition into the jungles of South America. Now, the reason they want this idol, this is all just set up. This is all just the very beginning of the book. The reason they want this idol is that it supposedly comes from another star. It was part of a meteor that came from another star to Earth, crashed on Earth, and it's supposedly a substance that does not exist on Earth. It's a substance which can be made into a bomb far more powerful than any kind of nuclear or hydrogen bomb that we have. It can, and they want to use it to power a bomb that they dub supernova. This bomb would have the capability then of blowing up 1/3 of the Earth, which of course would make the rest of it totally uninhabitable. This group that approaches the professor is not the only group that's interested in it, which is why this U.S. An army-led group is in such a hurry to try and find out where this idol is all of a sudden, because there are, well, there's a neo-Nazi group from Germany that broke into um, the place where this monk went when he went back to Europe, and he left his diary there, and it's in the Alps. So They broke into it, stole that document, and so they are on their way to the neo-Nazi group is on their way to South America with that document, and then they also broke in to the base where the army had their um, bomb that is waiting for this idol for the final fuel for it, the final piece, so that they can activate it. And they stole those two things and they're headed to South America. So this army group is headed to try and beat them to the idol and save the world. Uh, that's just the beginning. That's just the setup. This book is a wild ride. Um, you could compare it to Indiana Jones. You could compare it to James Bond. You could compare it to a Bruce Willis thriller movie. Um, it's crazy. That's all I have to say. It's crazy. It's thrill a minute, very cinematic. This book would have made an excellent movie. Moves along very fast, easy to read, constantly exciting. Um, Emily and I have kind of been talking about the fact in publishing right now that a lot of books are being targeted to women because there's more women buying books from Barnes and Noble right now than anybody else. It I had been doing a lot of thinking recently about another video I had seen that said, well, why aren't there books for men? And it is true that in previous periods of publishing, you had books like this. You definitely could call men's books because they're not romances, they're not romantasy, they're not the kinds of things that are being published today. They're more thrillers, they're more James Bondish, which typically is associated with a male audience. But like I say, it's my friend Samantha, not a guy, that got really turned on to this author. And so she's reading these. They are typical men's books, but she's a woman and she's really, really liking them. So this is just because I say this is a typical men's book doesn't mean that women won't like it. Definitely a lot of women will like the book. So how did I like the book? I liked it and I didn't like it. I loved it and I hated it. I hated it because the author didn't get all his facts right. Um, I don't know about every fact in the book, but one in particular early on in the book just stood out like a sore thumb and just made me think, no, this guy, he's not even bothering to do his homework, not even a little bit, because he says that this meteor that the idol was made out of, it comes from, he says it comes from a binary star called the Pleiades. Okay, anybody who knows astronomy, anybody who knows Greek mythology knows that the Pleiades is the seven sisters, and in astronomy it refers to a cluster of seven stars. This is basic. I mean, come on. A quick Google will give you this answer. 1999, maybe it's not quite as easy, but still, the guy should have. I mean, it wouldn't have hurt the story in any way to be accurate about what the Pleiades were, except this author apparently did not know what the Pleiades were. He just pulled a name out of an astronomy book or something and used it, and didn't really know what he was talking about. So it makes me question then, what else didn't he know what he was talking about in this book? There's a lot of things in here that can be called into question then for accuracy. that comes across as being very sloppy. He also is just, he has a fetish for military weapons. He doesn't just say that somebody pulls out a shotgun or a machine gun and shoots. He describes the specific model and its capabilities and its unique features. Um, I'm hoping he did his research there, because if he was as sloppy with his facts with that as he was with astronomy, then this book is just total crap. But it comes across sounding like he really knows his weapons, really knows military grade weapons, and spends the whole book showing you how much he knows about military grade weapons. It gets a little tiring. The the action, like I say, is nonstop, very fast paced, but it's also, a lot of it just was too over the top, where instead of being thrilled by it, I was left laughing at it. One scene in particular, where the main character, the translator, he's a professor, he does translation. Okay, and he's, after the bad guys wing walks from one plane into the hatch of the bad guy's plane, there's a big tank in the back of the in the cargo hold of the bad guy's plane, where a couple scientists are busy using that idol to try and arm their bomb. He goes in there, stops them. Now he's in control of the tank, but there's bad guys coming for him. So he starts up the tank, blows open the cargo hatch of the airplane, drives the tank out of the airplane. So now you've got this tank falling at terminal velocity toward the ground, and he's in it. So how does he survive? He gets out of it, gets out the hatch, and pushes himself away from the tank. So now he's falling at terminal velocity towards the ground. I mean, he's just going to go splat, right? Well, no, because when he was on the ground, he put on this vest for protection when he was fighting with the Nazis. And he didn't realize this, but it just so happens that this vest was an experimental technology that's actually a jetpack, which automatically senses when you're approaching the ground and kicks in. So the jetpack kicks in and saves him. So he's hovering in the air as the tank hits the ground. I mean, no, I mean, I was just laughing at this. It is so ridiculous. And this book is full of action like that, that you just, it's fun, it's exciting, but it's hilarious and ridiculous to the point of being stupid. You just sit there laughing at the book. It is just so ridiculous, but it's still a lot of fun. That's the thing. I had fun all the way through it. I enjoyed reading it. I couldn't put it down. I kept going. I finished the book. It definitely was not DNF'd. I kept going and wanted to finish it and enjoyed it, and I did finish it. It's not high literature. It's definitely not going to get a top tail. But if you're just looking for escapist adventure, excitement, that you don't have to take seriously, something like an Indiana Jones movie, Temple is perfect. It's awesome. It's a thrill a minute and pure escapism with a lot of good times. So I don't know if I'll be reading any more Matthew Reilly books. He does have a new book coming out at, the month that I'm filming this, August of 2024. He has a new book coming out. Einstein's secretary, I believe it is. And it is about a woman who was secretary to a lot of famous people, including Einstein. I'm sure it's going to be another totally fictional espionage adventure with thrill-a-minute excitement all the way through, and twists and turns that'll leave your head spinning. And so that one too, if it is the same sort of thing, I mean, this is one of his early works. It's been over 20 years since that one came out. Maybe he's changed. Maybe he's writing a more sober historical novel. I don't know. I wouldn't lay money on that. Um, but hey, if you want pure escapism, Matthew Reilly is, I gotta say, he's really, really good. He won't disappoint. And Temple won't disappoint. And lots of copies of this in hardcover and paperback, and not high prices on them on the used market. And this one is, I mean, I easily found one that's in really great condition. Might even find, you'll even find copies of Temple on our Etsy and Pango stores. Probably Pango, because it's too new for Etsy. Probably our Pango store. You'll see me selling them. But that doesn't mean I didn't like it. So, have you read Temple or anything else by Matthew Reilly? Tell me what you think of it in the comments section below the video. And I hope you'll come on back. Like I say, I don't know if I'll be reading any other Matthew Reilly. I don't have plans at this time to pick up any more of his books. But, if Samantha says, hey, let's read it, I'll cave. I know I will. But we do lots of other stuff. Lots of high literature, lots of top tales, lots of Stephen King right now. And so come on back and see more. Till then, like the video, subscribe to our channel, and I hope I'll be hearing from you.